Hello everyone. Today we will be seeing a problem on how to write program using function. So here just we'll create one empty file and we'll write the very first line, which is hash include stdio.h and then followed by int main followed by curly brackets. I'll just save this file with .c extension. So function1.c, extremely sorry, so already I have this file with me. Okay, so here I have the basic structure of my C program, and here I'll be writing a program using functions. So we know that there is a function declaration part, there is a function definition part, and then there is function calling part. So how to write it? So the very first thing we need to know is where to give a function declaration. So there are two places. One place where you can declare a function is above main program. So this is called as global function declaration. So any function that is declared above the main program is called as a global function declaration. And right now we will be not going through this part of the module. So what we'll do is we will declare our function inside the main program. So I'll be writing my main program inside the main function. So this is called as a local function declaration. So I'll be declaring one local function here. Now before going to write a program, first I'll just write down what we are trying to do here in this program. Write a program to add two numbers, or to add two, I'll say, integer numbers. Okay, so this is what the aim of the program is. So what I have to do is I have to add two integer numbers, and that too using a function, because we have seen simple C programs in which we are adding two numbers, so that we already know. So now how to use functions to do this task. So let's write a main program. So basically when I want to add two numbers, the main requirement is I have two numbers with me, or I'll say I have two variables, and the value of these variables will be added together and the result will be given out in the resultant variable. So basically I need three variables, say x, y, z, right? And here we give prompt to the user saying that enter two numbers, right? Now we will scan these two numbers. So scanf %d and %x, and %y. So we are reading the values in these two variables x and y, and I want the result. So how to add two numbers? So we know that x plus y will give me the it will add these two numbers, and the value will be stored inside a variable. So this is the normal C program that we have seen, a very basic C program that will add two integer numbers. But here I don't want to add these two integer numbers. So in that case what I want is I want this operation to be performed by a function, the function that I have declared, or that function that I have defined in my main program. So how to do that? So instead of performing main operation in this main program, you will be calling a function that will add these two numbers. So now I will not have this, so the actual operation will not perform in your main program. So I need a function to perform this thing. So what kind of function I need? So let's just write this function. So the very first line in your main program will be the function declaration. So what do we want? We want a function that will add two numbers, right? And going through the syntax of the function declaration, we know it has a return type, then followed by a function name, followed by the parameters. So let's talk about the return type. If I add two integer numbers, what will be the return type of my function? Yes, it will be integer. So integer is the return type. Name of my function, anything you can give as a name to your function. The only condition here is it should not be similar to the keywords or built-in functions that are already present in C language. So you have to make sure that you are not using any built-in function as your user-defined function, right? So here add is the function that I'm using, followed by brackets, and inside that brackets I'm going to provide the arguments. So here I'm going to provide some arguments, we can call them as parameters also. So I need to provide these things to this function. That means what value this function needs to add. So for that purpose, what the main aim of the program is to add two numbers. So I'll be providing two numbers to this function. So what is the syntax? You give a data type of the variable. So say int, say first variable is a and second is b, right? Followed by a semicolon. So this is my function declaration now. What it says, it has a name add, which has two values. That means this function is going to receive two values which are of type int, and after adding the two numbers a and b, the value that I'll get back from this function, it is also of type integer. So this is what the meaning of this declaration. So when compiler will come to this line, it will come to know that such function has been used in the program, right? Now once I write this, now in my main program, after reading the two values in x and y, that means now this x and y here are actual arguments, or I'll say actual parameters, right? So the actual numbers are present in x and y. I will copy these values into the containers of my function. So now z is equals to x plus y. We will not perform x plus y, but we will send these values to this function add. So here what we will do is we will say add in the bracket x comma y, which means it says that now this is called as a function call or calling a function. So how to call a function? What is the syntax? You simply give a name of the function followed by the two values that this function is going to receive. Here this function is going to receive two values x and y. So automatically when I send x comma y, this value will be transferred to this function add, and whatever result this function is going to give me, it will be added to z. As simple as that. So instead of x plus 1, I am simply calling the function name add, and now I will be printing this result. So printf %d, or I'll write it more specifically, that is result is equals to %d followed by z. Now if you see, we have written a declaration part, we have written a function call part, but we are yet to write the function definition part. So where to write a function definition? That means actual computation will be performed in function definition. So what is the syntax of function definition? It is same as your function declaration. So we will, after your main program, you will be writing your function definition, which is int add followed by int a comma int b, but there will be no semicolon, because now we are starting with our function definition. That means the actual computation process or the actual block of statement that is going to perform the well-defined task of adding the two numbers. So here what do I have to add? My value is in which variable now? AB. So when you call a function to say add x comma y, the value will be simply copied to the variables that you have mentioned. So these values are basically called as formal parameters. Why we call them as formal parameters? Because these values will take the copy of the original values, right? So formal parameters are the parameters that we mention in formal parameters are the parameters that take the value from the called function. So the called function uses the actual value, and these values will be copied to your formal parameters in your function definition. That means the actual addition will be taken uh, will be computed by a plus b. Now we know a plus b is going to give me a result which should be stored in some variable, say c. So here I say a plus b comma c, but because c was never nowhere it was declared, so what we can do, we can use a function body to declare this new variable, that is int c. So here what we did is we declared one variable inside of the function body c, which will hold the computation value of a plus b. And then what we have to do, because this function is going to return the addition value which is present in c, we will simply return this value. So return c semicolon, that's it. So what it has done, so if you see now, all of your program has made use of function declaration, then function call, and function definition. I'll again write here, because now this is your function definition, right? So now you can see that whenever a function will take any value from the user, it will simply send these values to my function, and then these values will be added together to give me the result back, which will be stored in Z container, and which will be later on printed. Now let's try to debug the program. So there's one warning, main function. Okay, sorry, I have forgot to give return at the end of the main program, so return 0. So now let's debug this. It has 0 errors, so I'll be running this program to see if I get a proper output. So it is asking now, my main program is asking for 2 numbers. So let's say I give 2 numbers to the program and press enter. Now these values will be sent to my add function. These values will get added, the result will be in C, that is 22, and that 22 will be returned to the main function, and it will be stored in Z, which will be then later printed as result equals to 22. So this is how your function program using function works. I hope you have understood this.